All right, thank you. We do have the jurors lined up, I believe, so we'll go ahead and just have them brought in if we're ready. Sure.
Thank you, Susie. Oh, no, I didn't. I can't see things that are redacted.
Jury's all present at count of 4, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. Okay, we're back on the record on CR 2221-1623, State of Idaho versus Chad Guy Daybell. The jury's returned from the mid-afternoon recess, is properly seated. The state just concluded with the witness, Mr. Gilbert, and so at this time, I believe the state's prepared to call another witness. Is that correct?
We are, Your Honor. The state would call Janice Olson.
You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yeah.
All right, thank you. Now that the witness has been sworn, I just need to inquire because of an exclusionary order in the case that doesn't allow for witnesses to view testimony. This trial's been live streamed and open to the public. Ms. Olson, have you observed any of the trial since it started?
No,
Okay, have you discussed with anyone else testimony they've given in the trial?
no.
Okay, thank you for your responses, Mr. Wixom. You may go ahead and inquire on direct.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, will you please state your full name and spell it for the record, please?
Janice Olson, Janiceolson.
Thank you. And where do you live?
Just a little out of St. Anthony.
And where is that relative to Salem, Idaho?
About 12-15 miles away.
And what do you do for work?
I teach first grade.
How long have you taught first grade?
This will be my 30th year.
And have you always taught at the same school?
Yes.
Which school is that?
Central Elementary
And where is that school?
in Sugar City.
And I want to draw your attention back to October of 2019. Do you recall working with Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
And can you explain to the jury at work, how often did you have interaction with Tammy?
All day. We're just kind of in and out of our classrooms, in the hall, the lunchroom, in our teacher's workroom.
So is it fair to say you saw her multiple times a day?
Yes.
And you said the lunchroom. Did you ever have occasion to have lunch with her?
Yes.
How often do you think that would happen?
3-4 times a week.
If you were to think about the working relationship you had with her, how would you describe that relationship?
She was a friend, good colleague.
And when you interacted with her at school, did you have any chance or opportunity to observe her activity or her work?
Yes.
What did you observe about her?
She was very organized, on top of things. She always went the extra mile to get books into kids' hands and to make sure we knew what was in the library. And
Did you ever, I'll withdraw that. Where is the library in the school?
down the hall, you walk in, you just go straight down the hall and to the left, just after the lunchroom.
How would Tammy go and get students and bring them to the library? What did she have to do?
She would actually stay in the library. Well, she'd come around and gather books during the week if you had library that day. But then when it was our library time, we'd take our class down, drop them off at the library, pick them back up after they were done.
Outside of school, were you ever involved in any activities with Tammy?
Yes.
What activities were those?
She came to our high fit / Zumba class a couple times a week.
How often? Twice a week, you say?
Mhm.
How long is each class?
An hour.
Drawing again your attention back to October of 2019, I'm going to ask you just to speak of the last couple of months before that time. Was Tammy a regular attender of the class?
Yes.
And when you went to class, did you have the opportunity to observe her in class?
Yes.
And what did you observe her doing in the class typically?
Just following along, just like everybody else.
Did you ever notice whether or not she seemed to struggle in the class?
No,
Did she ever fall behind?
no,
Did she ever quit early?
no. Usually if she thought it was too hard, I mean, everybody does it. If they're out of wind for a second, they stop and march, or they just keep moving and then join back up.
Did she ever do that?
I don't recall if she did, but I'm sure we all do.
So just based on those observations, did you make any observations about Tammy's health or fitness level?
Yeah, she was active and healthy.
Did you eventually learn of Tammy's death?
Yes.
How did you learn of her death?
I had a student in my class whose mother worked with her in her church calling.
And how did you learn it?
Oh, sorry. She called me that morning to tell me.
What was your reaction when you had learned of her death?
Shock,
Why shock?
because I'd just seen her on Friday and she was fine and she was at exercise class that week.
When you say you had just seen her on Friday, which Friday are you talking about?
Well, the Friday at school, the day before, it was just Friday at school, and then it got called Saturday morning. So
So are we talking about the Friday before she passed away on Saturday?
yes,
And you said you'd seen her there?
yes,
Had you interacted with her that much that day?
I'm sure I did.
Did she ever mention anything that day to you about not feeling well?
No,
Did she ever mention anything about her health at all there?
no,
Did you notice her to have any kind of symptoms or not feeling well?
no,
Did she ever mention anything about her health at all there?
no,
Did you notice her to have any kind of symptoms or appear to not be feeling well?
no,
Generally speaking, was Tammy the type of personality, did she ever complain about things?
no,
Do you recall her ever complaining about health matters at all?
no.
Again, focused on that last couple of months before she passed, did you ever observe whether or not Tammy had made any significant gains or decreases in weight?
I didn't.
So is it fair to say she appeared to stay at the same weight?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
All right. Mr. Pryor, cross-examination.
Just briefly, Judge, thank you.
So if I understand your testimony, Ms. Olson, is it true that the children were brought to Tammy for exercising their library time?
Yes.
So Tammy would not have to walk to the other end of the school to pick up the children and then walk them back every day, right? Correct?
Correct.
In other words, the children were as part of their hour, I guess I don't know how this would work, but as part of their library hour, the teacher's responsibility were to gather up their students, walk them to the library, and then at the return of their hour, the teacher would go back to the library, pick up the students and bring them back to their class. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Friday before Tammy passed away. As part of her duties as the librarian, that day was particularly busy that Friday because do you recall that she was trying to get all of the boxes and books together for the book fair?
Objection, counsel is testifying, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Do you have any recollection of Tammy preparing for a book fair that Friday?
No, I don't.
Okay, nothing else, Judge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Redirect, Mr. Wixom.
Just a couple of questions, please. Ma'am, can you please explain for the jury, where was your classroom relative to the library in the school?
I'm right by the front doors, just as you come inside to the left.
So related to the library, where is that?
Well, I'm here and you would go down the hall around the lunchroom and she'd be just the first doors on the left.
Would it be fair to say that it'd be possible that Tammy could be walking around in the school and you would?
Well, on those grounds, it's just for speculation, Mr. Wixom, so I'll sustain an objection there.
Do you ever see Tammy walking around in school at all?
All day, every day.
When would you see her walking? What would she be doing?
She'd be coming to gather up the books before we made it to library. For each class, she would be passing out books. If I had said I'm teaching about insects or something, she would gather up some really good insect books that she had in the library and bring them to our classes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wixom. Mr. Wixom, would there be any need to recall this witness?
There is not, Your Honor.
Will the defense call the witness? Okay, if you're here under subpoena, you're released from the subpoena. Thank you for appearing and testifying in trial.
Thank you.
You can be excused.